it's Cinnamon Coney, your art sherpa, and today I'm very excited. We're going to be continuing on in our man art theme, where we are doing a Roman Gladiator. I don't really know how historically accurate it is. I would say like Romanesque dude in costume and field
Yeah,
as
I,
reference.
I,
John, my husband, used to do armor, so
I,
I'm sure his feelings on the accuracy of this, but I'm going to do my best to represent the essence of this image.
I think this definitely captures the feel of a dude standing in a field with a cool helmet and shield and spear.
Which one do you want to?
I think
I'm channeling my inner dude, but I'm going Deadpool.
I can see
I've
it.
been just cycling all day. So
I like the shield that doubles as like a sled.
I asked you guys like what it was about this painting that you were looking forward to learning, what you were daunted by, what you wanted me to focus on. And I really like that we did that because I think that's really going to help this particular class really, really lift you guys up in your art journey, help you succeed in what you're doing. Let's look at the canvas, the wishes, and the materials real quick as we go over the awesomeness of this project. So everybody's really excited about the blended background. Of course, we have a traceable available to you on the website. It's free. You just go grab it. And that way, if you're not drawing yet, that's not really a problem. And I'll show you how to put that on this canvas. Okay. So I have an 11 by 14 little canvas panel thing here, and it's pre-gessoed. It's ready to paint. Doesn't need another thing. I get these in like economy packs of 5. And the wishes today are an end to division between friends and family. Like, let's people come together and start to listen to each other and understand each other, even if they don't have the same point of view. We have a very deep and heartfelt wish that Devin wakes up and he is okay. Christina, to be whole in her heart and mind and body after a mastectomy. And I wish this for all women that, post operation, that you guys feel and are back to yourselves and you're empowered and feeling amazing. And I think many, many of you would absolutely echo this wish. And actually, I'd just like to see an end of breast cancer entirely. And then I love this one, that new dads are supported, because it's so hard to be a new dad. It's really challenging to know what to do as a dad with baby, and that dads support dads in that journey. And I thought that was a beautiful wish, so I had to share that. Did you like that?
Absolutely,
I
that's a big
thought
one for
that would
me.
speak to you, because you had echoed that when you were a young new dad.
I did.
You didn't. He was awesome, though. Just straight up, my husband was fantastic. All right. So the colors today that I put out are cadmium orange, Prussian blue, cadmium red, Indian yellow, burnt sienna, burnt umber. I got a little Diox purple because I'm super excited about the thistles. Carbon black, yellow ochre, but you could use Mars black here, guys. Yellow ochre, alizarin crimson, and I'm sporting some titanium white and some zinc white just in case I need a transparent white. The other thing I'm going to be using today is the Gloss Glazing Liquid. It's a slow drying extender for acrylic colors, and what that means is that you can tint it and it's like a glaze, but it extends the paint and it slows down how fast it dries, if that's a problem for you in blending. Because you guys said that one of the big things for this, for you, was the blending in the background. So that's what I'm going to be like full on working on,
The
is
blending.
blending in the background, which is, in this particular case, I've shown you a bunch of sponging methods in the past, but what I want to do today, I'm going to put out my Indian yellow first. This is one of my very favorite colors. Could I say that again? Favorite.
So you like it?
I like it a lot. I may actually hit a little bit of my Prussian blue. Actually, I just put them all out. I'm working. I'm going to be working through this super fast.
I'll let everybody just see you while you're working.
You like everyone just to see my work? Oh, yes. Hi, how are you? So when I'm putting out my paint, just a little note on that in case you didn't know, I like to give a little room for mixability, and I like to think about the colors that I'm going to be mixing and how they are in relationship to each other, so they're close enough to work it. Like, I know for a fact that I'm going to love mixing my burnt umber with my cad orange. That's one of my favorite mixes, so I'll plop that there. And then I've got my yellow ochre as my other yellow, but it's actually going to be really pivotal in my skin tone with my alizarin crimson. So that's how they ended up next to each other. I'm not going to put out my Docs purple till I need it because, quite frankly, I don't know. I might use it as it's going to be too tinting for the background hills. So I'm going to just put that out when I'm getting into my little pops of joy on my flowers. Now I'm going to put out my titanium white first. Get this out, 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 out. And I will plot I get a little crowded here in my workspace. Do you guys ever get crowded in your workspace?
You're very crowded in there.
I do. And you know what else I forgot? My vision enhancers.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. My Geordie LaForge vision enhancers. All right. I need a big brush.
I feel like I don't have to do any work now.
Do
There's
you
no
not have to do
buttons
any
push.
work now?
I'm like, I've got you pictured and pictured.
I'm going to start out this background with a very juicy brush of titanium white. Just starting out. And I'm going to do an interesting thing. I'm going to come here and I'm going to go ahead and just brush in my watercolor words into the canvas. I chose the yellow in my watercolor pencil just so that it would blend in nicely to my background and not impact me in a way. Like if I had done purple, that could have grayed out my sky, right, as the pigment goes in. So things to think about. And the reason I'm brushing the whole canvas white, besides blending, how am I bumping that screen? I don't even understand that. I'm nowhere near it. It's like my klutziness has a field of influence.
What are you talking about?
It's just over here, there's this whole thing happening. While this is still wet. So I feel like you guys have been asking me for a certain skill set, and I'm gonna try to share my process through it with you. And we're gonna see if we can get there. It is one that I definitely probably inherited from my mom.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, this is one that we always did in the studio. So first what I'm doing is I'm working wet into wet.
Yeah.
That's my first soft response. My paint is still very wet. And I have mixed my Indian yellow right into my titanium white. I have a good coating of titanium white, on the background, and all this paint is still very wet. Now, cautiously and timidly, right, I'm going to take a mister. Cautiously and timidly. And I'm going to mist from way back because I don't need a lot of water. I just got to have it not dry out on me in 2 seconds.
Okay, so that was very
cautious misting. I'm going to get a little of my Cad Red, which is a very powerful color, and I'm going to work it into my Indian yellow, as you do, as you might. And I'm going to come here and I'm going to very softly work this gentle little blending of a slightly oranged hue down here, right? 'Cause we have these little clouds that are a little oranged. They're a little orange.
Oh, yeah, I see that.
I'm going to and the reason I'm doing this is my studio is quite dry, so if I let this dry out at all, I'm done. It's over. I'm going to get a stronger mixing of my Indian yellow, and I can even put a little of my glazing medium if I open it. If I'm opening it, I can. If I don't open it, it doesn't function at all, and I think I will write a long letter to the company. No, I won't, because obviously.
You're busy painting.
I'm too busy painting to bug anybody over at Golden about my inability to open a cap, which is definitely not their fault.
It's more about your ability to close a cap.
My ability to do this soft look is entirely in the fact that the paint is still wet and I'm moving very quickly. I can take my glazing medium to improve that. See how I can get right in here?
Yeah.
And I am kind of keeping this little area of white going just a little bit, aren't I? Got this little smidge of the background there. See how we're doing the soft, blendy, blendy, soft background?
It's very nice.
It's very nice. Look at that go. See, it's very soft. Now, there's this sort of little grayed, hazy cloud that's going on, and I think I'm going to give a go at maybe pulling a little of my Prussian blue into a brush. Let's get some glazing medium on there. And some of my burnt umber, and see if we can't get a nice grayed sunset cloud going, like you might have in the sky. See, I'm just going cautiously. And you can even get a little of your alizarin crimson just to pull it into those purple spaces. It should be not a color you'd be like, oh, I wouldn't even think that I'd have to do that, but here you go. And I'm going to get a blending brush right here, just in case I need to. And I'm going to, as carefully as I can, start to add some little grayed cloud effect while everything is still a wet. Wet into wet is a very helpful space if I'm trying to blend in. See how I'm doing? And then if I need to soften any of my lines, I'm going to come with a clean, dry brush and I'm going to go over it. See how much that softens everything?
Yeah.
Right? Now, you can have special brushes for this. A lot of artists, and this is a good and wise decision. So, you know, uh, just keep that in mind. Like to use goat hair brushes, different little blenders and round buffers
Now,
and things, and it is a very good blender. It can be a little bit pricey, and what my mom found was like any good soft dry brush would get it done.
hmm.
So you can absolutely use the goat, and I love the goat. But if you're vegan, or if you've got some expense stuff, just know that you're not stuck having to use goat. So what you can see is I'm brushing the top. I'm using this fan brush. This is a number 4 Cambridge fan, and I'm taking my cloud color and I'm using it up here. Everything's still a little bit wet, and you can see I'm just implying in this wet paint just some distant grayed clouds. Them going, I'm almost scumbling, aren't I?
Oh yeah.
All through here. Just enjoying that space. Look at that go. And if I want to keep blending it, the screen looks super blown out to me, babe.
Oh, sorry.
You're so hot.
No,
You
no,
made
it's
the
just
screen blow out.
it's the other one.
Huh?
So yeah.
All right. So see how that's going? That just softens and softens, and you can soften as much as you need to. I can get any of my Indian yellow and white into here and get my glazing medium on it, and you can come right into here and just blend. It's good.
Yeah.
It's good. I trust the tech man. The tech knows. The tech knows. So see how we're just, look at the motion of the brush. There's a soft wiggle. Soft and wiggly. And so think about those factors here, right? I'm not digging my brush in. I'm using a very wiggly motion. I'm even leaning into how a fan tends to disperse color. I'm using a soft, dry brush to blend. I'm just like, hey, we got this. Now, I rinse this out. I'm going to dry this out. I may even put some more of my glazing medium. Get this in here. So my fans work really well for this. Any good fan will work pretty well for this effect. I'm going to get a little of my pad into this because I'm going to warm it up. I love some of this orangeness that's in the sky, and I'm going to see if I can play with that and exaggerate that a bit. See how we're doing here? Just soft. Look how soft it is. So what's playing in my favor is the transparency of the paint here. Right, that's helping me. The way that this brush is just having a little happy joy moment. You better believe brushes do. They get so happy to be on your canvas. You didn't know your brush was happy on your canvas until this moment, did you? But they are. Feel its joy. It's so happy to be working with you. It's your friend, and it believes in you, and it wants you to succeed. We're going to just continue to just warm this up. And as we're warming it up, it just gets more and more interesting. I'm going to rinse this, and I'm going to really kind of come in here and enjoy blowing this little center space out. I'm going to get another one of these brushes. This is a 4. And let's really load up with the titanium white. Right? Quite bright. And let's get the glazing medium in there because that really slows down the drying time. I'm going to lightly mist. If you get these canvases too wet, boy, will they bend on you. And I'm going to just bring this white color up here. See how I'm doing? And I'm wiggling back and forth. And I'm going to just break the sunlight into this little space. Oh, that's nice and going. And then I'll get a little of my Indian yellow. Still with my glazing medium. Going ahead and show the little cloud break around this little sunlight. Isn't that fantastic?
Oh yeah.
Just distant. It's fine. It's soft. You're okay. I think what happens is sometimes these soft transitions just get so overwhelming, you forget to enjoy them for what they are. Opportunities to spend time with our lovely supportive tools.
What was that you just did there?
I added a little glazing medium and I added some Indian yellow to this brush so I can come and really just take this sky and pop it, right? Because that's what we want to do. We want to pop our sky. Let's sit back. Oh, look at that. Does that feel like a soft sky with a little bit of distant gray cloud? Kind of does. But we have these little hills that we've got to deal with. And I know those can seem super daunting. So I'm going to take a little of my Prussian blue and I'm going to work it into my brush. And you can see I'm work. How's it in my fan? Pretty well in my fan. And then I'm going to get into my little brown here. And I definitely probably will get my glaze going. Get your glazes on. And let's come here and let's make a distant little soft hill. How soft could that hill be? As soft as we can make it. Look, I'm going to wiggle this brush back and forth. It's going to just really soften that line for me.
Now,
soften it right here. I'm just making this distant hill. It's far away. The color's soft. I'm not pressing hard. I'm sorry, babe. I'm going to be with you in 2 seconds. I just want to, I gotta go just like you guys gotta go. I gotta move quick enough to, I'm not pressing hard. I'm really enjoying that space, right? Going back and back and back and back and forth. Just soft, soft, soft. You can spend some time with it. You can keep softening that line until it's dry. Look how I can keep softening. Until it's dry, you have time to work it, and you can blur and blur and blur those edges as much as you need to. I may put out the zinc. I know I'm going to like it. All right. Yes, babe. You were asking a question.
How many hoots?
Well, yesterday I said 2 hoots, and everybody was like 3, and today I was going to say 3 hoots. So let's see how that goes.
Could be somewhere between 2 and 3.
I'm thinking. It depends on how you guys feel about it. We have an actual thing. I'm adding the zinc white to my brush and a little of my glazing medium. It's a little strong on there. So what I would say is we have a new hoot rating system on the website, and you can actually go by and be like, I think she's a lovely woman. She has no idea how many hoots her own stuff is. The little kook. The crazy girl. So zinc white is a transparent white, and it's really lovely to have in your landscape kit. A lot of landscape artists love it, and they love it because its tinting strength is not as intense as, say, a zinc white. I'm going to rinse this brush out. I'm going to get its little friend that's had a rest. Actually, I'm going to rinse it out. I'm going to dry it off a whole bunch. And before everything's dry, I'm going to just make sure that I can sort of come back here and continue to soften everything.
I know you're trying to get all that all done before it dries out.
That is literally what's going on here. Is I'm just making sure, right? Like I want to pull some of this up so that that little bit of yellow is there. I can always come back with a little of my zinc and play with that a bit and soften that a bit, but I just want to make sure that that's there, and I'm going to start loading up my burnt umber like you might want. And maybe even some more glazing medium. I don't mind if a little of my Indian yellow gets into that, but I'm just looking for my burnt umber at this stage and just a small amount of that blue. Right? Because now it's going to go more brown. So let's just come across there. And we're just, look how softly we were on the edge of that brush, just being very soft. And we're just using our brush to talk about this distant little landscape in a very chill way. Look, scumblies. Enjoy your scumblies. Scumbling is very fun in my opinion. And underrated all the way around. All right, we come back and get a little more of my burnt sienna. I'm going to load it up. And while I'm here, I'm going to miss this, because that's already drying out. I'm going to get a little of my Indian yellow and my burnt sienna together into this brush. Make sure I've got glazing medium into all that whole mix so I can keep going. Just keep warm up this side of it. More brown. How we're doing? Now over here in about half a second, we're going to darken this up quite a lot, but I just wanted to work this in here so it felt that distant, soft little horizon. And if you need to, take your clean, dry brush and soften it.
Now, those were what were those? That fan
These
brush?
are actually called, this is so funny, this happens all the time in brushes. They'll call it something and then everyone only uses it for that. This is called the Ultimate Varnish Brush, but it makes a very good blender. It's entirely synthetic, which will sometimes help it hold up against acrylic a little bit better.
Gotcha.
So if you can get one like this, that's fine. But I've seen people use a lot of things successfully. I'm going to dry this out, and while I'm here, I'm going to just kind of, it's going to pull it up because it hasn't had a chance to bind, and I've got a lot of water on the brush, but if I keep working, it'll soften out. See? I'm doing a subtractive method right now.
Oh.
But I am managing to soften it, as you can see, quite a bit. I have time to spend. Listen, guys, some of these techniques work so much better. So many times you guys will say, I saw this, I was doing this, my paint, started to flake and pull. Many of these techniques only really work with the better paint. Certain paints just don't want to stick to the canvas no matter how much time you give them to dry. Did you see how we're getting that distant, foggy, fadey thing?
Yeah.
We're going to get distant, foggy, and fadey. I'm going to rinse both of these brushes out. I will take a couple questions while Don microwaves my coffee because he loves me so much.
Okay.
He's such a good husband, and he's so sweet, and I'm going to rub his feet to help him get warm coffee.
Yeah, I'm just going up here through this. So, they were asking, Cecile was asking earlier, where is the hoot meter?
Oh.
And could you tell them how it works?
Yes, I would love to. So that's on our website. If you go to if you go on our website, you're going to see that we have the video catalog. And you can search in the search bar, say you want to find owl. It'll pull up every video that's tagged to owls, and it'll give you a pretty good idea how many videos. I have like 700 videos right now on different subjects. So it's so funny that I was like shy on man art because like I got a lot of art out there. But you pull that up, and then when you go to the project that you want to do after you do it, you can come back, you can upload your finish. In the comments, you can upload a picture of your finished project. You can leave a comment for the next person coming to paint it, maybe some encouraging words, maybe some insight you had to the project, and you can come along behind me and rate it. So I might say, oh, this was 1 hoot, but you were like, lady, you are kidding. It is 3 hoot if it was a single owl. And just, you can rate your rate. And then the community and I working together as a team, we can create a really good rating system for new painters that are coming in. I love this collaborative system. I think it's really, I so appreciate everyone who rates. I so appreciate everyone who comes by. And I know we love to share on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, and I definitely don't want to stop you doing that. I love me some Pinterest. But if you get the chance to pay it forward for the next person painting it, and you can upload your results, say what you liked, say what your experience was, and give that a rating, that really helps people.
You know, a community that paints together, hoots together.
So I'm going to want to dry this.
You are?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to leave me alone to talk to everybody?
Well, what is going to happen is if I try to paint over this right now, because if you saw it just sort of washed and pushed it down so much, it's going to want to underbind. And now I want this to stick to the canvas, so I'm definitely going to dry this so I can get the darker little space of the landscape coming down at this far corner. I'm going to glaze that over the top, and then we're going to start having some fun with the grass.
All right. Oh, where you go? You totally tricked me. Fine. Okay. There's. What's she doing? Okay. So, shenanigans with hair dryers notwithstanding. Okay. So this is what you do. Keep it on the lowest heat setting because heat can affect color shift and weird drying effects on budget acrylic paint. On your pro paints, you should have a problem with that. But it's just general practice, good to keep the heat on low because it is plastic and you don't want to add heat to that. So and heat does affect the acrylic surface. You want you want that acrylic to be nice and cool. You want it to be nice and dry so that the next surfaces can stick to that very easily. So that's what you see her doing. There is making that surface dry. Right as I ran out of things to say. Perfect
I
timing,
have very good
Sherpa.
timing. That is what we call the marriage.
The marriage.
The marriage. Marriage is what brings us together. Okay.
It is.
As you wish.
It's what we hear. I mean, like
That's like so like our date movie, but our song is like a breakup song. It's so weird.
Our
song was like a breakup song. It was a breakup song.
I don't know what to tell you, man.
We just really like that song.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to add a dark value down here. It does confuse people when we go out and we're like, let's play our song. And everyone's like, are they okay?
This is our marriage. You're along for the ride.
Yeah, it's our marriage. You're along for the ride. I'm going to load up. This is, again, the number 4 fan that I have from the Cambridge. And I'm going to get some of my burnt umber into this. And I'm going to get this much more of a dark blue. Right? If you need to get some glazing medium into it, you can. And we're going to add a dark, soft area down here that I'm going to very lightly just dust over the canvas. So what you can see is happening is I'm just very lightly, it's almost like a blush, isn't it?
I do not know.
If you're a guy, that might be a little bit more challenging. I don't know. Though, nowadays, men are wearing the makeup well.
You know,
they came to shows. I just saw a dad who's like a show with his daughter that he shows single dads how to deal with hair.
Yeah.
Braid hair and do hairstyles and make their daughters fabulous, and it just made me cry. And I just said, love that family, because what a cool dad. Dads are cool.
I just don't have any. I mean, like, I've put stage makeup on people and I've helped like my daughter with makeup.
He knows how to blend it, and he just doesn't want to own it that he does.
But not like when you blush. I don't really have a blush relevant experience. Now
that's all we're doing here. Is you can just see that I'm just dusting. What would you do? Would this be a buffing in car repair? I don't know. Is it a buffing? Is it a rubbing? It's a.
I think what you're doing there really shows it.
Deposit of the pigment is what I'm doing.
Now that brush you've got, it's made of goat hair.
It is made. No, this one actually isn't goat hair.
No,
this is hog bristles and synthetic filaments.
Hog bristles and synthetic. Okay.
This is all synthetic. I have a beautiful goat hair blending quill, but I was using it for my watercolor, and as much as I love you guys, I wasn't really willing to give it up to the acrylic.
Oh, no problem. They were just curious what this one was made up.
Yeah, this is a mix. With acrylic, because longevity with our brushes is more of an issue, I have a tendency to pick tools that will hold up against, acrylic life.
Nope.
Because you can get some really beautiful tools in oil life. Now, over here, I'm going to warm this up into a little bit of my burnt sienna and my Indian yellow, like you do. There we go. And a little of my glazing medium. Look at us go. And I'm mixing that thoroughly through, right? Let's warm this up over here. Just a smidge.
Now, Pam was asking, could you use a bright instead of a fan?
Yes.
Well, why did you choose a fan here?
It does a better job. The splaying of these, the reason I'm showing you guys this is you guys are like, how can I get this? How can I get this? And I try to show a different process or technique all the time. Fan brushes are so misunderstood and misused. Just in general in art. And it's okay. Nobody come for me. Let me finish the whole thing before you go dislike and rage quit out. Okay. It's a little bit because of the bob.
Because he used them in a one way.
He used them in a very specific way. And so we got very locked in our mentality of thinking of the fan brush in that specific way. But there's a lot of ways to actually use a fan brush. They're fantastic for clouds. They're fantastic for grass and all kinds of nature things. But they're really good blenders. And it's so hard for everybody to get a good blend these days that I just thought, how can I help? I know what. I can help them blend. I'm going to put a little of the alizarin crimson into my brush and work this in.
Now, if you had that
and you can see, I'm not struggling. I mean, I am working. It does take time and layers and commitment to layer and soften things. But you can see right here as I'm going like this, how that just naturally softens that edge.
Oh yeah, and it creates that nice little just.
Yeah, and so I am getting a good soft result this way. There's so many good ways to get a good soft result.
You're just trying to introduce people to new ones.
I'm always going to introduce you to new ones. I think this is actually a pretty good one. This is one of my go-tos when I've got to really, really soften things in the background.
Now you
Other than that, I take you guys into sponge land. You know me, I sponge you up.
I like the sponges.
He does. Oh gosh, is that not a beautiful soft background? Are you guys kind of tripping?
Yes.
You tripping?
Yes.
I listen.
Yeah. Can I ask you a side question?
Yeah.
Denise would like to know
Hi, Denise.
What color lipstick are you wearing?
Oh, this is Clover. This is from the Clover collection from Too Faced. I am really insane for Too Faced makeup. I know nothing about cosmetology. I'm not a licensed cosmetologist in any way. But I personally, since I had kids, I wasn't allergic to anything. And then I had some children and I was allergic to a whole bunch of stuff. And it was makeup, which is really unfortunate for me because I need my makeup. And I had to go without makeup for a long time. But then, I found that I could wear Too Faced. And not only could I wear Too Faced, but it got me back into having fun. And then that pulled me into a bunch of makeup artists on YouTube and got me playing again with my makeup, which I think sometimes at a certain point in our life we forget that this is still wonderful and fun to play with, if that makes sense. When we're young, we're like, let's play with all of this. But as you get older, you're like, this is really tired and this just wants to take a nap. I'm speaking truth.
Coffee, man.
Coffee,
I gotta get my coffee.
Now I'm going to start at the next. I'm going to use my cat's tongue for the next bit because I like them and I haven't featured them in a while. I'm going to use my number 8 cat's tongue. And I'm going to get out my burnt umber and maybe a little of my alizarin crimson together. And maybe a little of my burnt sienna. I think we can even get, I just want to create this, oh, right there. The cat orange. There's where I'm going. Not the cat orange, the cat red. See that? Just really intense. Now if I need to deepen it a little bit, I can get a smidge. Don't get too much because look, it takes barely any. And I'm going to come right back here. And I'm going to very softly, and what's wonderful about this brush is it's a very soft brush. I'm going to just come along here and talk a bit about this little hill. It's really basically going to be from like down here, kind of coming up behind our little Centaurian guy. And it's all very dark. You can actually brush that sort of in. And then you just want to soften this little edge here. I'm going to just go up and down. See what I'm doing?
I do.
I'm just going to soften that little edge. Now,
so does everybody else.
Because we're going to come and I'm just softening it. These brushes have a very softening nature as well. And that's what we're trying to get in our acrylic paint is that softening nature. If you need glazing medium, go ahead and load up. And soften those lines. Soften them. Need to be so intense. They don't need to be so hard. You don't gotta be so hard.
I love seeing how that brush lays down. Now, about how hard are you pressing with that? Just curious.
Now, when I'm trying to work the paint in and really coat it, I've got you can see the bend in the heel to here.
Yeah.
When I'm softening, I'm just on the tip here, like that.
Gotcha.
When you're softening, you're just working a small amount. If I'm going to say, oh, I'm going to soften that little edge, I'm barely kissing the canvas.
But when you're trying to unload some
paint. Then I'm like putting it in. I'm like, all right, get in there. Get in there, pigment. Get in there.
And that's to squish the paint out of the belly of the brush.
Yeah. Now I'm going to just go ahead. I'm going to get a little of this and this together, and maybe some of this. And I'm going to just go ahead and finish all of this with this. Because I just need a deep, dark color over the rest of the canvas. And we got to build up from somewhere.
I think I just remembered a whole bunch of technical terms. Can I say these and tell me if I'm right?
Yeah, I'd love it if you did that. You're so sweet.
So you want to push down on the brush hard enough to squeeze the paint out of the belly of the brush.
Yep.
But not break the heel of the brush.
Toe, belly, heel. Paint is released from the toe, is stored in the belly, and the heel is where the ferrule and the bristles meet, and that's where your brush gets damaged and blown out.
Okay, I forgot about the toe.
Guess what? I gotta dry this again, though.
You're gonna leave me alone.
They're adorable, and you like them.
That's
It'll
true.
be fine.
I
It'll
do.
be fine.
I like other people's. Okay, so while she's doing that, I will say, Hey guys. Yes. Oh, Monica, I'll ask her about the brush with the fan. But it seemed to be it was very similar. That you saw when she was pushing down on it. That was when she was trying to push more paint down, and then it just worked the very tip to blend it out. So I remember seeing that myself. So thank you guys for coming in and hanging out. Man, it's so nice to see everybody here. We love, love, love having you guys come and hang out. This is a super special time for me to be able to spend time with you guys and hang out. And really, this is what Cinnamon and I love doing. And couldn't be any better except for you guys being here with us. So thank you. And yeah, check on the website down in the description below because we have so many cool things coming up there. To all of our patrons, you can see we've got lots of cool stuff coming that's releasing on the website. You'll guys be able to see those, much like the hoot meter and other things like that. So stay tuned for those.
Stay tuned.
Oh my gosh, I said it. Stay tuned.
Stay attuned and intuned and attuned.
Yet, for those of you who used to have to hold an antenna while someone yelled at you whether it was good enough, more to the left.
All right, I'm going to pull a little of my cad red and my black a little bit over to my brown. It's really interesting how you see how cad red and black sometimes will make almost burnt sienna, but it's a slightly different color. And I'm going to come back here and I'm going to just use this brush and just tap it. You can use the edge of the bristles. You come on the edge here. See how we're doing? I'm just going to come on the edge where I need to make that sort of like distant grass, and we're going to work this whole space through here. This is going to give us some of our darker colors that we're looking to get in this space down into here. All right, so here I am loading up, load, 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 load. Get a little of that red. It's not a common combo that you see me do if you paint with me a lot, but in this painting, it's such a warm piece, and we've got to get this whole line of background grass in to be able to even put our centurion in. Well, we don't have to. It is just a way to. It is how I've chosen to. We all have choices to make, and in my painting, that's the choice that I make. So I'm going to come through here. I'm inclined to just really work my dark values. Let's get some brown. I'm just going to work those right here. That one is just the brown and the black, and you can see that's much darker. And I'm letting the texture of the brush start to imply, and beautifully so if you notice, this grass. For those of you who get real frustrated with grass, and I can bring this down, I can blend this down. Under here I can softly push this in. If you need to, you can soften at the edge of this where you're trying to say, because down at the bottom of the grass where he's standing, it does soften. And then you can play that against the hard little lines of your grass. I mean, if you'd like to. Whoa, got some orange, don't care. That would be the struggle, as the brush is kind of big in your palette. You gotta watch for that. But we can come here and just really darken a lot of this.
Yeah.
So those two fields of grass will pull against each other a little better. It's okay to take a little of this up here. I'm going to rinse that out thoroughly, 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 thoroughly. So thoroughly. This is the fun part in my mind. All right, I'm going to load up with some of this cadmium orange, which is just fantastic. And I'm going to mix in some of my burnt umber. This is one of my very favorite combos. This, cadmium orange and burnt umber, or cadmium orange and phthalo green. Man, I love them. I'm going to come here and I'm going to start to add some of these light bits of grass that are off in the distance, aren't they? Look at that go. We don't want to make little consistent ridges, right? We're making up little bits of grass as it would actually grow, where some of it is, a particular way, and then some of it is So make sure that you're not making little rows of corn. Right? Don't make little rows of corn. You're planting grass, and grass is kind of wild and unruly. Now, while I'm going along, I can actually get right into my Indian yellow, which is lovely, and even into my zinc white, which is also lovely. So that. And I can come right here. Just on the edge, I'll plant a little bit of light that I like right there. And maybe I come on the edge here and plant another little bit of light. You can pop some here. So sometimes it's fun to play the brush on the fan, and sometimes it's fun to play the brush, on another side of it. Let's get more Indian yellow and the zinc white. They work so well together. Let's come over here and plant a little bit of this very light grass that's back here. I'm going to come back this way, babe. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I'm balancing it out, and I just don't want to throw John off. I don't want to get too much in. I gotta work it through, what we're doing. Maybe you want a little more orange on there. Play with it. Play with the color. Bright, bright day. Just play with the direction of the brush. See, by doing this, it changes up the grass quite a lot, doesn't it? You can tap it in and get a particular texture. On the corner does some lovely work. Just coming along and talking about grass. Every once in a while, rinse out. You can even get your other one. Another one is fun is you can load up with your a little of your cad red into your brush and get in right into your yellow ochre. That gives you another little different effect. And you can come play right in there. Like this little peach that you see in that grass. Isn't that interesting? Get right back into my Indian yellow, always in the good mix. My zincs. Makes a very light color. I'm thinking about is the way the light is hitting some of this right here, and his arm, and a lot of that's going to come back here, and we can always come and adjust it, so pull that into some thoughtful grass space. A little bit of my burnt sienna. My grass. Dry grass. When I get the purple thistles in here, expect me to go completely crazy with it. If you were hoping that I wouldn't, you're going to be super disappointed. Because it's happening. It is happening. Now I've got a traceable. I'm going to miss this. I'm going to put this aside for a second. And I've got my traceable, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that. The first thing that I want you to do with your traceable is that you're going to have to create something that you can transfer to the canvas. You can use white Cero paper. Speaking of, let me grab some of that.
Ooh, okay. I don't know where she went, so.
That's okay. All right. It's a beautiful picture. They can look at it for a second.
Yeah.
This is Cero paper. This is a special product that's designed for transferring images in art. They make several products that are about image transfer onto different material. And there are a lot of products out there that seem like they're this. So really read your packaging carefully, because there's a bunch of products in the fabric and maker market that is about a wax transfer, which is not desirable for this. And anyway, now if I don't want my Cero paper to be permanent in my painting, I'm going to have to make sure it's completely dry.
Okay.
I'm going to do that right now.
Oh, doot, doot. There we go. So while she's doing that, I'm going to say, guys, make sure we have lots and lots of updates coming up on the website. For all of those of you guys who are patrons or supporters of us in the past, we're communicating a lot of that through the website. So make sure that you go out there. And if you're signed up on the website, if you have an account, you should be getting your a newsletter through there. You can go into your account settings and make sure that that little checkbox is set that you can receive the newsletter. But we send out updates through that. We're also posting updates, so when you log in, you should see those. And all of our patrons will be seeing a new special dashboard as you log in. Now, it's not there right now, but that's something that's coming very, very soon. So you guys just know that we have a whole bunch of stuff that's coming up this month. It's just stay tuned to that to the website and to the newsletter. There's lots coming.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
Man, and all I can say is I can't tell you how in the studio we are right now, but it's just you can't see it. We're just so close. We're getting there. Now, what is that tape you're using there?
I'm using washi tape. I have taken to using washi tape for my low-tack tape lately.
What is washi tape?
Washi tape is a decorative low-tack tape. It's used in crafting for all kinds of like scrapbooking. I think this is a recollections one. I just like saying that because there was a really funny video about YouTube said I needed recollections. And then she bought all this tape, and I just thought that was wonderful because that happened to me too. But I've been using it in exchange for my painter's tape because my painter's tape can get quite pricey. I was sent a bunch of beautiful painter's tape, which I do appreciate. But this is like something you can get at your local craft store, and it works pretty darn well so far, so I'm into it. Now I'm going to use this to transfer my image on my canvas here. I'm going to lay this flat because that's actually going to give me an easier time doing it. You like that? And then he can show you. And then you can look at my very messy background canvas.
Like this?
Yeah. It's
or I can just do this.
Yeah, you can just do that.
There you go.
So what I'm basically going to do is I'm going to find a sharp instrument, which I know I brought over here earlier, for sure. And I am going to trace over all of the lines that I have here. Now, I tried to give you some important lines because you guys had said some things were really hard for you. So I gave you some of the highlight lines. Like where these lines are, that's actually some of your highlights. That's a shadow right there. There's a shadow right there that goes under this. So this is going to really sort of help you. Forgot to give myself a neckline. There we go. And that's a good transfer on. So basically what you do is you just transfer over. You just push down and you go over the lines in your traceable that you print out from your computer. Oh goodness, for a panic second, I thought I forgot how to, I didn't think about where I put my spear. That was not smart. I also think it's a good idea I go a little bit inside my transfer lines. Just because sometimes it can change the sizing of what you're doing if you don't. There was a lot of discussion about this. This was almost like the red feathered thing. But then John said the metal one actually deflects a blow. So that seemed more realistic.
Oh, well, yes. So, boy, you caught me off guard. I have to tell you about this comment in just a second from Sonia. But,
that's okay, because all I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer over all these lines so we can just hang out together and you guys can watch me trace. Isn't that exciting? And no, tracing is not cheating.
Yeah, the crest was both decorative and important for field awareness because the crest indicated your rank for the color and the height of the crest and a whole bunch of other things, but also it was a reinforcement gusset so that when blows came from the top, it helped protect the top of your head. Okay, so now, what was I saying? Oh yeah, Sonia. She said she wanted to tell you this. Okay, she's an amateur painter, and she's learned from watching your videos. But she's had to say that she's improved tremendously and sold all of her paintings and wanted to say thank you so much.
Oh my gosh, Sonia, that is exciting. One, congratulations on those sales, because there's nothing like a sale to restore the art supply stock in your art room, is it? You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah.
You're like, oh, I'm running low on art supplies. Got to go sell some artwork. There's many of us that are on that journey. Thank you, Sonia. I really appreciate when you guys share those stories of success with me. Or like just even stuff down to like, my family got together and we all had a paint night and, we lost touch and now we're feeling, more connected. That's a really beautiful feeling. It's certainly why I started doing this online. It's helping people connect with each other. I'm going to do my spear. Going to be a big deal. And I can't say that spears are like my heart, soul, speaky thing, but I'm going to give it my go.
But I think that's, pointy and goes towards the bad guy. So I think you pretty much got it down.
Now, I'm going to have a little trouble seeing some of these white lines, I imagine, over my light colored paint here, but we're just going to get through. I haven't been recommending the red or blue lately because I found they... Oh, for panicked minute, I forgot I did it on the wrong side. So one side will leave a little bit of dust on your finger and one side won't. And there's nothing like spending a long time taking your, you know what I mean? Like you already spent a long time just drawing the guy. Well, I did. And then you got to transfer it on and you're like, wait, what? I'm just trying to remind myself where certain fabric folds and lines are because I can get lost in it too. And honestly, my reward for doing him is getting to do the thistle. Oh, he did really well. They're a really cool product.
Yeah.
A lot of carbon paper doesn't like to transfer onto acrylic, and then even if it does, it can be wax, which is really damaging to the painting.
Sherpaception.
Sherpaception where? Oh, hi, me. I need a microwave again. Where's our children? So what happens is there's an AC unit and a plug right under my feet.
I noticed mine.
There's an AC unit and it goes right over into my coffee. And I do have a warmer from one of our community members, Alan. And but it's now plugged in far away because we're still wiring in a lot of the stuff in the studio, like checking, because it's very tough to figure out wiring things in.
Yes, there's, there's been some learning.
There's been a learning has happened. I'm going to miss my palette again.
What I'll say is that I love the new studio.
This.
I love it.
I'm loving this.
Oh yes, this is great.
This is giving me life, guys. So what happened, if you're wondering why we're doing this, is it was pointed out to me in a kind and loving way, nobody freak out, that I tend to paint with a very feminine perspective, which I thought, well, that's probably really true. Like, how many girls from behind have I painted? How many girls in the rain have I painted? How many mermaids? It's been a few, and then there's been some owls, and even when I do other stuff, it's cute, right? Like, I did a trout, but there's a purple sunset. So I concede that I may have a highly feminized perspective in my art. And this was pointed out to me. We have about a 23% male viewership. Hi, all the guys, Sherpettes. You're dudes, but you're Sherpettes, and we love you. And so they said, hey, we need some stuff that honors us. And I was like, I don't know what to paint. And then I went to my husband because he's a dude and he's like, cars and wow. I'm like, okay. So we did the car thing. But that was like actually the number one thing on that poll that we had. But I realized I wanted to be more inclusive in my painting. That's something I think is important. And so this turned into a whole journey. So there's knights, there's castles, there's even a truck stop sign with rust. Who's loving this painting? I'm loving it.
I love it.
I'm going to get more into my Cambridges because I love my Cambridges. I'm going to get a number 8 Cambridge. Does that mean I don't love my brushes? I love my brushes too. There's just a lot of good brushes.
There's a couple of really good questions. Okay, so they were wondering, remember in Doctor Who when Rory became a Roman soldier?
Yeah.
They were wondering if you might, dash a Pandorica, or where might you put a Pandorica that he was guarding, hanging out.
If I was going to say that he was, I would probably, in this composition, I would put it right here, kind of in and out of the grass.
Just hypothetically.
Hypothetically. Okay, that's where I would pop it. But to be really honest, if I was going to do that, and somebody asked me about a Who thing, I would probably put a TARDIS coming in on the sky.
Yeah, I guess.
Just to tie it into that part, it means just me personally as a Whovian. If I had all this, that would be my temptation, would be to put a distant TARDIS coming in.
Yeah.
Right. So, for those of you that don't watch Doctor Who, that's a show that's been on since 19 gazillion. I think it was on before TV because it's a time travel show. I'm going to get a little of my Prussian blue and a little of my alizarin crimson, and I'm going to make a very, very, initially quite dark red. And all of this cloak that I've got going back here, I'm going to definitely put in this dark color. Now if you have a lot of trouble with reflections, can be very precious around where you're going to put your highlights, but I am going to show you how to put each one in. By the way, it's okay to be precious. That is not an insult. Nor is being a stockholder. These things just talk about the wonderful and beautiful way we each are as individuals. And let me tell you right now, do I love an organized mom? If we're all doing something with the girls and she remembered to Ziploc everything and make them look like little butterflies in the Ziploc, yeah, I love that lady. And then we have name tags and everything is organized in the cooler, because I would get everything in the cooler and it would be a lot of fun, but it would be thrown in the cooler. Just saying. So I'm just covering. This is going to be my deepest value kind of in my cloak. These colors are both pretty transparent. Even though Prussian blue is actually a historic color, it is one of the few historic colors that's just really transparent. And by the way, it isn't really Prussian blue.
What do you mean?
Prussian blue is really Prussian blue. It's always hue. Like Indian yellow is always hue. Prussian blue isn't Prussian blue because real Prussian blue fades, isn't very light fast. And Indian yellow isn't Indian yellow because the truth is, in spite of the really fun rumor that Indian yellow is from cowpea from India, who ate mango leaves, there's no actual historical evidence of that whatsoever.
Which is
there's one weird thing, but they think it was like somebody with the East Indian Trading Company trying to mess with somebody else over an import.
They were trying to
be shady.
They were trying to grief their trade route.
They were trying to grief their trade route. All right, I'm going to take a little of my black and my Prussian blue together at first. And I'm going to come in here, and this whole shield, I'm going to do pretty dark, actually, guys. And I'm going to try to, like show that it's curving around like you would in, correct perspective if I can. Even though there's going to be a lot of these beautiful, delicate, highly thought out grasses in front of it. Are you guys doing okay? Your energy's still good? Did you take a deep breath? Did you go, I'm okay? Because many of you are freaking out about this figure because you have it in your head. You can't paint a figure.
Now, he is probably a Greek Spartan.
Thank you.
Someone pointed out here, her husband walked by and said, that's not a Roman Gladiator, that's Greek Spartan.
Thank you.
And probably
whoever's husband that was, thank you. Go get your husband. Good job. Thank you. You manned us up. Thank you.
And looking at it, I can agree. Yeah, probably because a Roman gladiator probably wouldn't be allowed to walk around out in a field by himself. They were,
Well, there's 300 of us. We are Sherpa.
Well, those are Spartans. Those are Spartans. Those are Greeks, and it's more likely to be him because he's in in that Greek uniform kind of stuff. And I'm not totally.
I just got I got a reference I could legally use.
So yeah, it was a cool picture of a dude in the field with armor.
Yeah, well, I did pick some of these without necessarily John's influence.
It's true.
And the reason for that is this is gonna be the base for my metals. And I don't need to use the Cambridge for a particular reason. I just happened to grab it. And I just still have it. I could have used a black velvet. I could have used a cat's tongue. I could have used a Ruby Satin or any bright that would spread paint on a person. Well, on a canvas. Don't use these paints on a person. These are not body paint. Just that's important health information you really got to align yourself to. These are not body paints, okay? Okay. I think I started with this because I know I was going to use the scumbliness of this particular brush to really talk about the beat up metal that you have. Everyone was a little bit worried about the gauntlet. Don't be worried about the gauntlet. We're going to do great here. So I'm going to just paint this in just initially at first like this. This brush is going to be just too big for the spearhead, so I'm going to have to switch down to something smaller and put this aside for a minute. And that's okay because I can use one of my small brights to get the rest of this in.
That's a bracer.
Bracer. Thank you.
Not a gauntlet.
Okay.
Just saying.
I'm all good with that. You tell me, babe.
I don't know. Just,
You're good. I'm good. I'm here. Look, I signed up for this. I did mudding. I did an old car in a field. I got some nights coming up.
Do they say knee whoop?
No. I think this is more like a Knight's Tale night.
Well, there has been definite request
more of a Chaucer night.
My Monty Python Princess Bride, they could definitely do for some of that fandom too.
Well, if you really love fandom, lately on my watercolor lessons, I've gone like complete Lord of the Rings. We
That's true.
just did a Nazgul. Well, probably not. I really think it's probably more of a ring wraith. I don't know if it's one of the nine. I haven't decided if it's a victim or, it's too early in the series to tell. And you're like, isn't it your own painting? Shouldn't you know? I don't know.
Got to stay tuned to see what she paints next.
I have to stay tuned sometimes to see what I'm doing.
Ooh, I said it again. Stay tuned. I don't know why that enamors me.
So what I'm doing is I'm just really sort of paying attention to the lines of the metal. That would be a place to be really attentive, just simply because the guy in your life will be attentive to it, or the girl, because they're both people could be very into their armor. And I'm going to just use this small brush to catch some nice sharp lines, because the Cambridges aren't really great for a sharp line.
Your armor-clad partner.
Your armor-loving partner.
Mm. We all gasp.
It's fine.
Then why did you gasp?
So I'm going to just take that back. And what I did is I just got my brush clean. And now I'm just, so it's fine. See? It's just irritating. Dude, I worked so hard and then I do that. Oh, gosh, man, boneheaded. Just trying to get a nice little line in there. Sometimes we're just fussing with the lines. I don't have my vision enhancers.
Where'd you put them down somewhere? Like, way over here. How did they get way over here? You're not even, I mean, like.
I like how his head is floating.
You're not even supposed to leave there.
Am I not?
I don't know,
I don't
not
know
that
which
far.
side of my hair. I'm having all
like
kinds of issues.
You're looking very 80s today. I don't know. I need some 80s music. I need more. I can see your picture.
Hungry like the wolf. Okay, so.
All right, picture. Now, you're just, what color are you using there?
Tightening up. I'm doing a number 2. This is a number 2 Bright by Ruby Satin. It just has a really lovely edge.
Oh, it's a Ruby Satin by Silver, right?
Ruby Satin by Silver Brush Company.
Just so that it's like,
And I try to really list out the specific brushes I use after a video.
Sometimes Cinnamon's very focused on the painting, so it's, I'm trying to just be supportively
Also, the fact that he's like all floating, like honestly, this is an interesting painting in of itself. It's just the armor.
Actually, it is kind of cool like that. He's like,
it's like, dude,
it's Invisible Man.
He's an invisible man.
It's the invisible armored person.
I am gonna just come here and I'm gonna take my Indian yellow, my yellow ochre, and I'll get a little of my white. I'm just kind of making this warmish wood color. Just trying to paint this somewhat neatly. Is my head in the way too much?
No, not at all. I was just actually asking the little you made a little boo boo there.
Yep.
Is that easy? Just the same thing to kind of.
Yeah, I'm gonna do the same thing. Once I get that in, I'm gonna rinse my brush and I'm gonna just be like, no. One thing that you can do if you're really prone to boo boos, and trust me, I'm really prone to boo boos. If you have a lot of time and you're not I am not supposed to take 5 hours to do a 5-hour painting. I'm supposed to take about. Even if a painting was going to be 5 hours, I'm really supposed to be done in about 2, like at the max. But you don't have those constraints. Those are not your worries, right?
Right.
So you can, if you want, tape on either side of your spear to improve the sharpness of the edge of your line. Now I'm going to come here and I'm going to take a little of my alizarin and I think maybe even a little of my Mars, my carbon black, but you could use Mars black. And I'm going to come and this is wrapped here.
Oh, yeah, I see it now.
And this is wrapped down here under his hand. And really most of this is underneath grass, so anything past that I'm just being fussy. Now he has a very tan, dark skin. So I don't have any of my mixes for making a very light skin tone here. And I'm going to do this. I have blown him up so I can really see him when I'm painting things. Because you guys were really concerned about catching the correct musculature for him and doing things that made him feel manly. And I just thought, all right, it's a Sunday. We can slow down and just get this stuff right if we want to.
Yeah.
If you guys want to.
For sure.
I know you do. I know you guys want to nail it, so.
I'm going to see if I can make...
Look how smart I was in calling not putting out my, I need to grab something from the ground.
Okay. You go get that. What I'm going to do is... There's the Sherpa.
Usually you hide it.
I didn't know. I thought you were going someplace, so you just disappeared yourself. I didn't know where you're going.
From the ground.
I thought you were going to the ray. Sorry.
So I'm going to take a little bit of what's left. My, it's very dry in here, and so this causes my paint to skin pretty quickly. So I've got my burnt sienna, and I've got my alizarin, and I've got my yellow ochre, and I'm going to use these to find his base skin tone.
That's right. There we go. That's what I was looking for.
Oh, that's super duper tan, right?
I gotta shrink that down a little bit. Or is that okay there? That big?
Yeah, I feel so.
I think that'll be okay. Shrink it down just a little bit. I'm just trying to give them a little bigger reference.
I've added some burnt umber to this base mix. In the description, if you check it, there's a book that has 400 skin tone recipes. If you're really struggling with your skin tones, it's a good read. It's one I recommend. Go ahead and go for it. But initially, I'm going to start here, even though these are pretty transparent, because I know I'm going to have to build it up. And what I don't want to make him feel is like too fair. Because, dude, he's outside.
And walking in the sun.
He's been walking in the sun. He's got a lot of melatonin. We don't want to take that from him because it's rude.
And that...
Artistically rude. You can do it. I've done it by accident before, but it's rude. Just saying. But this gives me nice bases. I'll even show you how to just really man him up. There's a couple of tricks to just really man this figure up. Going to help you in the big art quest when we get to November. She's a tough chick. It's a Grace Jones little chick going on there. She'd mess him up. But this is man time, so we're not going to point that out to him because he would not enjoy hearing that. I've got my nice little hand here, and I'll be adding some highlights, and that's how we're going to find his hand, and it's going to feel like really cool. Got our little knuckles here. But until we add the veins and stuff, it won't feel like that. So what I really want here is a nice coverage of his skin tone. And if I need to dry it and then paint a second coat, I'm going to take that time to do it. And John will talk to you.
Oh, yeah.
But first, let me get my glasses on, my vision enhancers, because I've got this little area under the helmet. This, for me, is the most tricky. Just because, we've got a little bit of face here, right?
Yeah. Ooh, excuse me. I was almost going to sneeze there. I was like, oh. Oh. So, it's that, I don't know if there's like, I think it's been raining outside or something, because my nose has been just like on fire, ready to sneeze today.
I hope it's just that, because what we don't need is a virus in the house.
No way.
That'd be it for the show. Where's the Sherpa?
I don't feel bad. I just feel sneezy.
I'm going to hit this with the hairdryer just because I want to hit the highlights and pull some stuff on his skin.
There we go. So, while she's doing that, I'll come over here and say, hey, everybody. Thank you for coming and hanging out. Don't forget, check the description down below. Heard all me say all this stuff. Thank you guys for coming and hanging out. And, yeah, I think that's pretty much all we have to say. You guys know that we try to put resources, everything you might need to find down there in the description down below. I'm just trying to think of things to say.
Things to say?
Yeah, well, because I feel nervous about, like, I've said all the things that I've already said before, so I don't want to re-say them. And then I feel like, well, I got to say something.
I'm adding a little black to my skin tone, and I'm making like a little shadow skin tone. You can actually get some glazing medium out here in this stuff so it doesn't dry out on you so fast. Not a terrible idea, because it's not fun to have to remix skin tones.
I mean, as soon as you come back, I got nothing but things to say.
Right?
You're just that little. You get a little eye.
I gotta get a little eye in here because he's got a little eye, doesn't he?
Does.
And if you ever did my sideways eye drawing quest, then you're like, oh, wait, I know how to do this. I'll be like, yeah, I always have a plan.
As planned.
As planned. Just make sure some of this is in shadow, but some of it isn't. And, you know, we got to get that in for him to feel like he's not like a crazy hot mess. I am using a very precision little detail brush. These are part of the Ultra Mini set. I've got a ton of them, but what you're wanting is a small detail brush. And I'll get some yellow ochre into my skin tone mix where I need to like create a highlight. And I've also got my zincs. And this is where zinc is, again, another good power player because it will lighten something without making changing the intrinsic color. I'm just trying to find those values in micro amounts so that he has a bit of a hint of features under the helmet, right? Because at this scale, we would see some of it. And get a little of my Indian yellow and a little of my zincs. And here he is. We come right here. He's looking kind of sideways at us. Not the easiest, my friends. Not the easiest. But not the hardest either. So don't just like be like, if you're really, really nervous, you can just skip the features. But I know everybody would like to know how to do it. And that was definitely some feedback that I got. So I'm trying to get in here and help y'all out. Okay, so the front of the eye is barely, the white of the eye is just barely showing.
Mm.
You know, and we've got some little skin tone here that's lighter. You can come and get some white into it. You know, I feel like a little more of the yellow ochre is warranted. I'm trying to get this just on the tip of my brush so that I can. Trying to like come here and be like, oh no, here's the lid. Here's the tip of the nose. Tap, 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 tap. You know, sometimes when I have trouble getting like a line off my brush, I will like resort to tapping so that the certain things that I've got to try to get out that aren't wanting to go with me very easily will. I'm just trying to get a little paint on here in such a way as to show a shadow or show what's happening. So I'm going to get a little of my black. Interestingly enough, there's a little bit here under the lid. Bring that right there. That taps forward just a little bit. Kind of coming under here. Pulling from the front here, coming back. It's like sort of like this really cool little eyebrow space. Just trying to. There we go. See him? You guys see him?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's hard to do this little work, man. Because it's tiny, and a little move one way just changes the whole comp. Look at that. You can actually sort of see that they totally catch that in there, can't you? So I'm going to get a little of my zinc. And see, I've got, the reason I keep a lot of detail brushes is sometimes it's very hard. I don't know if you guys have ever noticed this. I'm going to grab another small detail brush. It can be very hard to catch small amounts of paint in an area. And we want to definitely do that in this case. So like right here at the front of the eye, underneath there's a little bit of a highlight. And we're just making sure our dude looks dudeish. The dude
Yeah.
abides, man. The dude abides. Work with the dude. And then if I have to, I can come up. Sometimes it's easier to trim a color, right? Come back with something and trim it than it is to get the line out. And that's an interesting thing to learn as you're painting. Like, oh, it's like easier for me to come back and get that line out and get that space out. But now I have an eye under the helmet. I don't know if John can show that to you up close,
Oh yeah.
but I have an eye.
Oh yeah, we can totally see that. See?
Yeah.
He's got his eye.
He has his eye on you.
Something.
Something. He's looking. And make sure I have a little shadow under the nose, because if I don't, it won't feel like, things are shaded the way that they should be. And I'm going to go ahead and get a little of my zinc on the tip of my brush, and I'm going to come right here, and as delicately as I can handle it, I'm going to add a little zinc reflection. Because we awesome.
Yeah.
We're awesome, man. And at this point, all of my skin tones should have totally, like, completely dried. So I've got my little skin tone here. Let's get this into our brush. This is our base skin tone. You can see me working it back and forth. And I'm going to add some yellow ochre to it. And now I'm going to pull some zinc into it. And I'm going to come to the front of his arm. And this reflection comes down past the elbow, up the bicep. And there's a little bit of one right here. You can pull a little bit back. Front of the arm here. I'm going to just keep pulling that down. And there's a very interesting shadow under his, what is that one again, babe? The gauntlet?
Bracer.
A bracer. I'm going to go ahead and get a little more of my yellow ochre into that, but I'm going to get my zinc white. And I'm going to come here across this part of the neck. There's an interesting and all-important shadow right here. Highlight. And then around the front, we'll start to talk about that. And then the hand also, this knuckle is much lighter, as is much of this. And I've got to start lightening this up. I'll come back and deal with my veins in a second. Right now, I'm just trying to talk about value scales. So we're just going to keep coming and pulling on these highlights. How we're doing? Right here. And there's a little bit of a highlight right here. Right here. And you can kind of start to brush some of this. Starting to talk about those things that are highlighted and aren't in shadow. So I can come here and I can get some of that shadow color I had earlier. And for sure, I have a bunch of shadow under the helmet around the neck, don't I? And then there's a good bit coming across here because of light reflection. And this all under the cape is pretty dark. So we're just trying to show him. Now you can start to see see how that light and dark starts to play. So I'm going to get a little, you can do either blue or black, either one will work, and you get back into your base skin tone. Get my little glazing medium here, and I'll come on the underside of the arm. And I'll say right here back at the elbow, there's a super deep, much deeper shadow. Maybe even pull that there. And I'm going to start to pull this darker value under his cloak. That's pretty nice. We're getting some highlights on the skin. We're getting some thoughtfulness there. Now, I'm going to get into my yellow ochre and my zinc white. And right here across the top of that, I'm going to add a very bright highlight. Right there, loading that into my brush. You can see that in there. Right here, let's really pop this highlight. And there's some heat to that right there. Definitely coming down here. Some heat to that. Oh, there's a bright hot spot right there. And I don't just mean he's a looker, but he is. We're going to just definitely make sure that the front of the shoulder is well shaded. Come back to the hand. Catching some highlights there as we go. Under the bracer, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my glazing medium, and interestingly enough, my Prussian blue. Are you guys enjoying this? Is this informative?
Yes, they think that he is buff.
He is the buff, right?
He is the buff.
I'm going to add this as my shadow that the bracer is casting.
And I'm with Craig. I think that side eye that you gave him has got like, he's like, what? Get that. That's a pretty cool eye you have going.
I love me some side eye. I'm coming under the cloak and I'm adding this little shadow. I'm going to come right under here. Again, with this blue, and I'm adding that deeper value. See how we're doing that with the blue? So I've got my Prussian blue, and I'm going to come underneath the helmet right here, darker, right there. And then again, very dark at the throat, but we're kind of leaving a little bit of that highlight there in the center. Step back and really look at him. We're still not done. I know you'd think we are, but we're not. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get some zinc. I'm going to pull that out. And on his arm right here, I'm going to tap out a little of that zinc. It's going to be here again.
That's zinc you're using?
Just pure zinc white.
Oh.
Grab that here. Definitely at this part coming out of the forearm. Hit the front of this knuckle if I can delicately. A little bit of that right there, front of that hand. Now I'm going to get my Indian yellow on this one. So it's zinc and Indian yellow on this one right here. And I'm going to come around this. Really pop it. And I think actually I might have to go into titanium white. I need the power of titanium white. So by the power of Grayskull compels you power of titanium white too. And I'm going to create a little highlight at the front of that arm that helps that pop out against the background.
That's how we know it's Rory, is he's got the glow.
He's got the glow. Just making sure that I'm good there. All right. As soon as I'm good there, I got to put a brighter highlight back there. So back into my zinc. And I think I don't see any yellow into that. So putting in my zinc. And let's also add that there we go. I feel like we're seeing his highlights and reflections. Nope. Now isn't he beautifully sunlit?
Yeah.
All we have to do is make sure his metal is like that, and we are in Black Flynn. Let's get back to the cape. I need a little rest from all that for a second. So I'm going to get back to his little cape. I don't know what I just dropped. I'll get it later. And I'm going to come in, and I'm going to actually now mix my alizarin crimson and my cad red much more to the alizarin crimson. So for those of you that follow my Facebook page, because you do the watercolors with me, you'll know that this is cochineal, a bug butt. Or at least a close approximation of that. And what you're going to see as I do this is that this glaze lets me sort of go over these deep values, but not lose what I worked here. You can get the glazing medium into it too. See how it just builds that up? Takes that cloak into the red, but I'm going to let that be as dark as that is right there. Back into that. Get a little of the Prussian blue back in. And now I'm going to blend this back up because I want both of those in there. I just wanted this to feel a little more red. And I knew I was going to take a couple of layers to do so. So that's the Prussian. And let's see how the cloak feels much richer now in color. And that's going to be a very important thing. Kind of boo-boo there. So I'll get my clean water and I'll fix my boo-boo. Don't stress about the boo-boos. Don't do it. Don't stress about it. Don't be worried. It's all good. I'm going to enjoy my wonderful, this is a number 4 Cambridge, and I'm going to go ahead and get my, I think my cad red and just a little of the alizarin, but mostly my cad red. And I'm going to come right here. I'll tap in my first little fold. There we're doing.
Yeah.
And maybe there's a little reflection right here. Cad, 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 cad. Now we can get a little bit on that fabric fold right there, and there can be a little bit top there. Definitely want to catch some right here. Take down some this front edge. I've just got the cad here. Little triangular reflection that we're dealing with right here. And you guys have them just drawn in very, very carefully. You don't have to worry if they're hard. Now at the shoulder, I'm going to get back into the alizarin in the cad. I mean, it's still kind of lighter than the background, but I'm going to start just talking about this here. See how that's looking on the folded cloak? That's a little sunlight there, isn't it?
That's really good.
Not fun?
Yeah.
All right. Helmets. Let's talk about helmets.
Yes.
Let's talk about helmets. Yeah.
Now,
Get some cleaner water now before we go full salt and pepper.
Full salt and pepper?
Not full salt and pepper yet.
Just a lesser spice girl?
I'm going to take a little of my Indian yellow and maybe a little bit of my burnt umber and some of my zinc. I gotta get, like, there's this interesting kind of pattern in the metal I want to start talking about.
Now, they were asking.
Scratching this out. See how it's like very glazy, but I'm scratching out the metal?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're starting to talk about that.
Those two little pieces of metal went down on each side of his cheek, actually pressed in and were touching his cheek, and that helped that kept the nose guard, that piece of metal over his nose.
Yeah, from going like all kinds of crazy directions.
Well, it kept it so that when you got smacked on that, it didn't break your nose.
Nobody would want it to break your nose. That would just be terrible.
Right, and that's why those helmets were very, very fitted. And that's why you see that little piece of metal. Someone was asking what that piece of metal was. So it keeps your nose protected, and that those pieces in front of his cheeks were really tight against his face to help protect him.
I'm using just my yellow ochre here. You'll see me getting just my yellow ochre. And I'm just trying to make some of this like very beat up metal effect. Right, so this is a rough brush, and you can see I'm dry brushing. See how dry the brushing is? The brushing is quite dry.
I see it.
We're not actually working out values right now. We're just trying to talk about texture a little bit. Let's come and get a little more of this, load it on. And let's come down, to our shield. And we're going to start talking about the hammered nature of the metal in our shield. A lot of times people want to go to, a space where they're talking about metallic paints. But I think I just added a little bit of that warmed burnt sienna into this as I'm going to be just roughly using the paint to sort of scratch the shield out, this beat up shield that has battled. This is a dry brush, and you can see how I'm using this Cambridge to represent this dry brush. See how we're going like up and down, and we go back and forth, and it's very light pressure just on the toe. We're doing just on the toe, very light, very relaxed. Now, those of you that get panic about, like, if you do get cereal paper and you're like, oh, but it's still here, it comes off with clean water and a dry brush once all the paint is dry. The only time it doesn't is if you use one that isn't cereal, or you got the one with wax in it, or you put it into the paint when the paint was warm. That's true for chalk or anything, though. If the paint's warm and soft and you put anything into it, it's going to hold it a bit. You can see I'm just sort of scumbling out that texture. That doesn't mean I won't go back with, say, my black and blue, and mostly my blue, and scumble out again, maybe some more of the dark texture. See how we're doing?
Yeah.
Layering this up, making this rough and battered. Layer, 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 layer. Come back and scumble in some of our dark texture up in our helmet. Especially right here at this part. And I'm going to come up a little bit. And already it's starting to take shape, isn't it? So I'm using both the texture and the values to do effects now. You could play with this a very, very long time. Now I just grabbed some zinc. And I'm going to do this reflection that's happening right here. See that? How does that look when we back up? Now if I wipe out my brush, I can come here and look at this. I can soften this reflection. I can have these hard points and soft points through here. And I can take this very lightly over the front. You can also add a little bit of this there. So you just tap in, tap, 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 tap. And you can say, all right, right here, another little thing happening, but it needs to be soft. And right at the front, I've got another little thing happening, but it needs to be soft. See how we're doing?
Yeah, I really do. This is awesome.
Okay, let's see how that's looking. Looking really good. Same with the shield. Whole top of the shield. And I'm just using the zinc to get it done. I'm just like, oh, it's very soft, isn't it? Soft. Doesn't mean we're not going to come back with other textures to continue to make this feel metallic. This is called a scumble. See how I'm just rubbing this pigment in? See the brush? Zinc, 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 zinc. What did I have on it from before? I had a little smidge of the black, lots of the blue. Enjoy that. And see, then I can come and get a little of my titanium white. Interestingly enough, and I can come right here. And I use the brush like this, and I'm just going to highlight the edge of the shield.
And that's to get that back glow.
Yep. A little bit more of my white. how we're doing now. That's not bad. I'm going to take a little of my titanium white. And right here in the helmet, I'm going to add a hot spot, very softly put out. See that there? And then I'm going to come along the back of the helmet, adding another hot spot. So those two hot spots should give us a sense that he's in a bright light. Do you guys love it? Is he glowing?
It. Yeah.
That's the thing. Let's go ahead and give our red wrapping here a second alizarin pass, right? Even though it's probably a little burnt sienna. And then we're going to come back here to the burnt sienna. And then maybe work a little of that in. We're just trying to talk about the wrapping. That's pretty good. Gauntlet. Let's gauntlet him up. We all know the deal, don't we now?
You mean your bracer?
Bracer.
Sure.
Bracer, that bracer thing. So I'm going to get my,
look,
get my yellow ochre, and I'm going to just make sure I'm coming here and I'm roughing up this metal.
You can think of it as it braces his arm, but the gauntlet goes on his hand. Our dude. I don't know why it's necessarily, but I have to say that you really metaled up that shield. Yeah. It looks really cool.
I'm fun in miniature
painting. I like it.
I'm coming back over to the shield, and I'm just adding some stuff. I'm going to just work these areas, and you know what I get? What I give myself when I get these things done? I get to paint some thistles and some bright grass right up front. That's my reward.
It's almost you can't see down enough. I'm trying to bring the light up enough to see.
Ah, it's looking good.
It's like, wow.
Now I'm going to get my zinc. Tapping this in, I'm saying this part is reflective. See how that's looking? Yep.
See what's
Such a busy time, my friends. Now I need to get my number 2 brush right here. And I'm going to get my Prussian blue. And I'm interestingly enough going to come to my sphere, and I'm going to be like all Prussian about this at first. And it's almost not going to show for you guys to see. But that under blue cast is going to be super important for what we're about to do here.
What is that?
So once I've got my blue all out, then I can come into my zinc. And I can come as carefully as I can. I'm going to
Tina likes yours better than the photo reference. I'd say I do too.
Sometimes the painting ends up being better than the reference, and it should, honestly, because we can do things. We can paint how something feels even more than maybe necessarily what it historically even looked like. I think a lot of the great Western artists did that. Pulling this in, getting this highlight in.
That's so cool.
Another little highlight right here. Let's see how that's looking as metallic.
I love that. I
am going to leave it in that darker value because I feel like that goes more with the shield and the helmet. And I felt like in the photo reference, that blue just seemed a little weird.
It's so cool. It turned out really cool.
Right? It's just like, man, what is going on here? I'm going to take this number 2 bright, this Ruby Satin bright. I'm going to come along the back. These ties, probably quite dark under the hand here. Let's get even a little more black under that. And then bring that down the back of the tie here. Even sort of do that here. Now while I'm at it, I can get a little of my yellow ochre out. There we go, with the black. And I'm just tapping that shadow down the middle of the staff. There we're doing. Just trying to make sure that we have that in the reflective shadow that we want. Now let's get a little of our zinc and the red. And this is one of the examples. See how this doesn't look pink? So one of the problems when you add like white to a red, what you get is pink. You don't get a lighter red. But zinc will give you a lighter alizarin. And get right into my black here. And I'm going to come under my sphere and just make sure that this is sort of in shadow. See how we're doing? And then even right down to the tie at the bottom here. Exaggerate that there so we can really see that shadow. Let's back up and see how we're doing. Have we exaggerated enough?
I love it. Look at him. He's just...
He goes out. I love the little glint in his eye that you can see.
I do too. See, it's like right here. It's like I'm gonna zoom in on it because you can see he's got his side eye happening. He's like, hey, what's happening?
And yeah. All right. Very into that. Last thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get a little of my zincs.
What you gonna do next?
I'm gonna just make sure that this has a bit of a highlight right there. On the front of the staff, the back of the staff, and on the front right here. Because that needs a little highlight. I feel like, I don't know what you guys feel like, but I feel like I deserve, you can see me clean up the white lines where they don't go.
And that's just from the serral.
Yeah, that's just from the serral. You can see it just comes right back up. You're not like stuck with it if it's not speaking to you. I'm going to get a little of my black and a little of my skin tone for just a second. Maybe some of my glazing medium. And I'm going to come under the cloak. I'm just exaggerating some of the folds with a slightly darker shadow, a couple places. See how we did? Just a few?
Yeah.
I know it's like boom, boom, boom. It's cloak, but that's what's, that's what's involved in it.
It looks fantastic.
So I definitely think we've got something happening here, and now I get to have some fun.
Now you get to have some fun?
I get to have some fun. Yay. I may even treat myself to some fresh paint because this is getting gummy from the day. Woo, how are you guys doing? You guys ready to just play?
Yes.
All right, so I'm going to put out, I'm thinking my yellow ochre. Definitely a little of my burnt sienna. I may play with, I'll definitely get my Prussian blue and my Doc's purple out. Prussian blue. The Doc's purple, zinc white, and white. And Indian yellow.
I guess we can make that a little bigger here for you.
Well, what? Oh, yeah. Right?
And you're going to add a little bit of those foreground shrubbery.
I'm going to add some shrubberies. Yeah, I have these like wonderful little shrubberies that are going on that I'm super excited about.
This is good.
I don't want to not have them, so they're happening.
I have to say, I'm impressed. We've been trucking right along here.
Mm-hmm. Have we?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, we're at an hour and 44 minutes.
I think we're going to pull this in at about 2, which I think it's quite amazing for the painting that it is.
It is.
You know what I mean? A lot of times people be like, yeah, I ain't doing it. That's a lot of painting for where we're at. Like, you know where you are? You're on YouTube. You don't have time for that. I'm like, I don't know. We'll goof around. It'll be okay.
It'll happen.
It'll be all right. I'll get through it. Like, even if it's just a couple people that watch it.
We're good. We're good. We're still here. We're still hanging.
All right, so this was my zoomed in so I could see everything that was going on pretty accurately, but now I've got my framed one here, and I'll put that one out where I'm going. And I am going to play with, listen guys, and I'm going to let you know right now, you can be just grass. I'm definitely going to be playing with deeply. I'm going to get a little of my burnt sienna and a little bit of my yellow ochre. In this area, what I'm going to want to do is I really want to play with not only the texture of things, I'm going to pull some of this texture out. But I'm going to pull a lot of these values up a lot. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to give myself some thistles.
Thistles.
I was like, when I saw this, I was like, wait, I get to paint thistles? I'm in. Get a little of our white into this so we have a little more coverage.
We're loving the shield, man. That shield's gotten lots of love here.
See how this brush does this amazing texture that feels like this grass that's here? This dry summer grass, is that not amazing?
It turned out wonderful.
Powerful tool.
There we go.
I am not, I'm not trying to make you go out and buy a bunch of stuff, I swear. Not my goal.
No, it's why we try to show you, like, you could do
so many different types of things. That's why I try to show you so much stuff.
Because
so that you know.
You actually have your own fan brush, too.
I have my own fan brush.
And you were just like, I want to use this other one.
I haven't used it, and it's just always important to me. One of the things I think that happens, especially when we teach art, and there's not a lot of us, I think, that have brushes. But even as artists, we get really kind of locked into like, well, I use this tool and this is the tool.
Yeah.
And in my time being an artist, what I've learned is, yeah, for sure we have favorite tools. Who doesn't have a favorite tool? Everybody's got a favorite tool. But I think I want to do some of my kind of orange and my burnt sienna. That's really gonna pop, and it's gonna make my thistles pop. This little pop here of this orange. This is playing unfairly against the purple because everyone's gonna be like, "What? That purple really shows." I'm like, I know. And we want to make some ups and downs. See how we're going ups and downs?
Yes.
Ups and downs and ups and downs so the grass isn't one little height. There we go. That's lovely. I can get right into my Indian yellow. And some zinc. Start playing with this. It is quite light up front.
It really is. This is so nice. I can't wait to see how this comes together here.
Oh, gosh, look at that.
Just the last little highlights, huh?
Till I get to do my thistles.
Little.
The thistles are happening. Like,
thistles.
that was my reward for doing gat art.
Oh, no, it's okay. I just am not sure what part
That's
is the
why I
thistle.
did the car for you the way I did. I was like, I'm going to paint an old car, but not without flowers in my field.
No problem.
And then this is really all about, you guys, mentioned that, I'm going to get a little yellow ochre in here, that you were real frustrated with trying to get the grass. I was like, how can I show you a different thing? Maybe will help you see it. I'm just catching the tops of these little grass bits. There we go. There we go. Wow, look at that. Oh, that's fantastic. Okay. All right, guys. Let's get a little more of this in here. I've added titanium white this time, and see how that just pops that next value up?
It really does.
There we go. And that's quite light, isn't it? can go right on the corner. You can change the size of the corner. See if I change the corner, how it just changes the mark. What are we doing with brushes? We're mark making. We're implying texture and we're mark making. But, oh, ho, ho, bam, bam, bam. Sometimes I please myself.
I love how these turned out.
So all right. So now I'm going to take my little detail brush and I'm going to get a little of my burnt sienna and a little of my Prussian. And we're going to just, oh, maybe even darker than that. It might need to be darker than that, guys. We might need to pull the secret weapon out, the fluid black.
Oh.
The reason I'm doing this is that these, I want them to really stand out. So just indulge me. Because I really love a thistle.
Well, that's all right. A dark thistle emerges.
A dark thistle should emerge, right? So that contrast of this darkness, that's going to give me a couple little pops that I really, really like. And I feel like it'd be really even interesting even around this little shield space. And I'm being very like crookedy, if you'll notice, like thistles are spiky, they're opinionated, they are out to hurt you, and they're often in a dry field. Put a few up here just for design. Hidden in this space. These little bits of line. And that doesn't mean I won't like push them back with like a little more grass into the grass, like another little layer here. But I really love that dark, refined line against that soft space, don't you guys?
Oh, yeah, I really do.
Can you guys see how I'm just like tapping these little shapes? These are the pods where the purple's going to be. I have to, oh, yep, there's some thistles at the back of him here too. Rinse, 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 rinse.
Now, everybody's thinking this has turned out really nice.
Take a little of your Prussian blue and your Doc's purple, and you're going to get it right into your, you can get it all, either into your zinc or, I put my glasses of vision on. Talking about the purple. You want to really be able to see it. It was of great joy to me in the picture when I saw these little pops. How are those looking? Can you guys see them?
Oh, yeah.
So purple and yellow are contrasting colors, and when you put them together in a piece compositionally, it creates a tremendous amount of drama to the piece. That purple and that yellow. And I felt there was, now it might have been a lucky break for this particular artist, like they ran into that. I'm going to get a lot of white on here. And the titanium white.
I don't think we need the picture-in-picture anymore.
Okay.
I'm going to let that go. I'm chasing you around a little bit now, so I'm going to zoom out too.
Okay. So what I'm doing is I'm picking the tops of these flowers and I'm also highlighting them. You guys see how I'm doing that?
Yeah.
So that the flowers aren't one value. Come back with maybe just like a really dark purple to really shade some of these. See, I'm done. I know. We're at that 2 hour mark, but it's like I can't skip the purple. That's my reward for accomplishing metal and fabric and all the good things that I love. Now I'm gonna dry this. Okay, I'm gonna dry this.
All right. Whoop. And while she's drying that, I'm going to say thank you guys for coming and hanging out. I do also really love this painting. I thought this has turned out just really great. And to answer some questions, we don't sell the original paintings that are on the show. I keep them in a collection, and they're all curated and stored. We do occasionally give some of our paintings to our patrons or donate them causes, but the originals all stay in a collection that we keep here because
Oh, did somebody want the painting?
well, they were just asking what we do with them, and I curate that collection to show at different events and things. So, yeah.
Studies. If we have a study before painting, yeah, definitely. But sometimes like this, we don't. Like I didn't practice this before I painted.
No.
I just had a reference, and I was like, I'm gonna show you how I'd paint that, but explain it in really detail. All right, I'm gonna get a little of my Indian yellow on my brush, and a little of my titanium white. That's a pretty powerful combo together. And I'm gonna tap around this up front layer with some of this grass color. Can you see that?
Oh yeah.
It's not the lightest value in my grass. And I'm not going to take out my purple with it. It's just going to help push that stuff back into the plant.
Oh, sorry.
You don't want it to feel like it's just floating out there unless you do. Right? Like if you do, that's totally cool. But if that wasn't your intent, you want to have control over those kinds of things. Just put a little bunch of this like right here, maybe a little bit. That is it, guys. Let's give that a signature.
I agree.
Now I'm going to get my titanium white. I'm going to just give that a sign. I want to thank you guys for your day, for your time, for your patience, for your courage in the painting. I'm going to remind you to be good to yourselves, be good to each other, and I want to see you at the easel really soon. Bye-bye.
Love you guys. Bye-bye.